Okay. Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Ivan and Sunyata. Welcome, Master Guoxin, to come to speak to us. And if you can please switch on your video, so it's more respectful to Master Guoxin.
开始了吗？
Yeah. Let's bow to Master Guoxin. Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Ivan and Sunyata.
好，今天我们就讲这个圣言说法啊，第二应该是16页啊，就是脚跟下啊，这个是不是他们就直接谁要用英文，谁要读英文啊？要读英文就好。
我把英文版的读一遍是吗？就是师傅说的那个脚跟下的那个英文版的读一遍是吧？
对，要读英文，对。
好。Number 2, feet firmly on the ground. Question: in Chan, we often come across the phrase beneath your heel or watch under your feet. Is it to remind people to keep their feet firmly on the ground, meaning to keep their mind on the present moment, instead of indulging in the past or dreaming about the future? Answer: yes, indeed, it is. In the course of practice, instead of focusing on what they are doing at the present moment, many people will focus on the future. This is the meaning of not having one's feet firmly on the ground. There are several scenarios here. First, a person sees that someone's practice is going very well and being envious. They want to emulate the other's success, but it does not occur to them to begin working hard by first putting one foot on solid ground. This is just impractical daydreaming. Second, there is the type who expects other practitioners around him to practice well. Since he expects others to do well, if they do not or don't practice at all, or they say something wrong, he feels bad and considers it as his fault. This person goes by his own scale of measurement, and if others do not meet his standards, he criticizes and finds fault, never thinking whether he has met his own standard or some degree of success. He still expects others to achieve 100%. He is stricter with others while lenient with himself. This is the heels never touch the ground type of person. Third is the type who makes his plans for practice based on the teachings in the scriptures, as well as on the sayings and lives of the lineage ancestors. This person harbors thoughts that one day they will settle down and begin to practice, even having plans on how they would do it, but never get around to actually starting. So they had fun when they young, were too busy with career in middle age, and physically unfit when old. Up until the time they died, they never implemented their plan. The fourth type is high in setting their sights, but low in execution. A supercilious person, they set very high standards that they either achieve or not. But if they do, they want to be very thorough and accomplish a greater deal. They always talk about what they want to achieve and how they will achieve, but mostly it is just empty talk. The fifth type is easily satisfied with just a little. With the little experience they have gained, which is not really that solid either, they think that they have attained complete enlightenment. They go around telling people that they have succeeded in their practice and would be very willing to teach people, whether they would welcome it or not. Even in front of some truly accomplished people, they never stop boasting. Therefore, truly accomplished people will tell them, watch your step. Your heels have yet to touch the ground. This is to point out that one is acting very rashly and restless without yet accomplishing much. This saying, keep your feet firmly on the ground, can be also very useful to non-practitioners, since they should make sure that one foot has been firmly planted on the ground before taking the next step. After that, step by step, every step must be firmly planted while moving forward. If one can do this going through life, though one may not attain fame or great success, they can still have a clear conscience and live a balanced and grounded life. And
完了是吧？
是
好，这里面脚跟下啊，基本上就是说，你要什么？不要空想，要脚踏实地了啊！怎么讲？要脚踏实地，去实践啊，主要是这样子啊。
So this saying basically is teaching us don't think in too much, but instead do the things according to your ability. Just as this saying said, feet firmly on the ground. And
那我刚才再分析一下，就是羡慕别人啊，很羡慕，就是大德的修行啊。那第二个是什么？要求他人也要怎么样？那第三个就是看经典，其实并没有实修啊。那第四个其实也是一样的啊，就是他们叫眼高手低啊。那这个四个，基本上，我把它讲作都是在玩波浪，玩波浪啊。
So as we just heard, there are several types, like people admiring masters or acquire others or request others to according to their high standards, or like to say belittle others' practice, or like to say they know a lot, but actually can't do that practice. So all these things, Venerable Guoxin said, it's a type of playing with the wave. Yes, and
那我想大概有两个，这个要点呢，就是什么？我们叫什么？叫做信解行证啊。我们修行该相信佛法，你了解佛法，然后修行佛法，然后提升佛法，这一个这是第一个大原则。那第二个是什么？修定跟修慧，大概我们一般的修行大概不出这两个模式啊。
So there are 4 key points and several fundamental rules about whole practice, what we call the 信解行证, which is literally means confidence or belief in the whole Dharma practice. Second is understanding or learning the Dharma. The third is practice the Dharma, or like to behave with your own whole thing, whole life. The fourth is to prove it with your own life, or experimentally to use your own life. And summarize all these four together, emphasize two very fundamental pillars of the whole practice called Ding and Hui. The Ding is literally means meditation or deep meditation, Hui which is wisdom. Okay, and
应该是定是定是 samatha， 那会是 vipassana 或者 contemplation 好了 ，concentration 跟 contemplation。
So Ding and Hui is sorry, excuse me. Ding and Hui is concentration and contemplation, right?
我说 samatha 跟 vipassana。
Sorry， 师父刚刚说什么？我没有听清楚。
就是 samatha 跟 vipassana，samatha 就是定啊，那个 vipassana 对。
所以那个是 Sanskrit 的定和慧的两个名字是吗？
对，就止跟观啊，就定跟慧也可以这么讲。
哦，好的。
就应该止跟观了。
Samatha 和 Vipassana。
Vipassana。
Oh, okay. So that is Ding and Hui in Sanskrit. Shifu just gave that two words. One is Samatha, the other is Vipassana. And
那在我们的修行，其实先不用讲了啊。那很多人在解这个部分跟行这两者，可能解多行少啊。因为就是行的时候，跟等于是行多，但是什么？但是并没有什么，就有点像开车没有地图，就是盲修瞎练的，大概不出这两种毛病啊，也是解了一大堆。就地图看得非常清楚，你从这边哪里走就可以到那边，事实上你可能讲了半天啊，讲了几年，可能习一点点而已啊。那另一个就是修，那等于是盲修，就是没有看地图的，就一直开车，但是没有地图。
so, talking about the second and the third, about learning and practice. So there are two kinds of very typical kinds of practitioners. One is learning a lot, but actually do little. The other is doing a little, but without a clear understanding of Dharma. So Shifu compared it as driving without a map. So like doing a lot of driving, but actually is lost very easily. So there are two very basic types of practitioners. And
那开始行的时候，那就又可以分，就是说你是修定跟修慧啊。那往往会很难修啊，会很难修。那可能就停在修定啊，修定这一个，修定的这一个，整个这个层次啊，那会，比如说无我的空位，有时候听不懂了啊。就听懂了以后，也是只是什么观念上的。
So back to the two very key pillars of our practice, Samatha and Vipassana. Vipassana is so hard to practice, or even some people understand about like to say non-self or like to say prajna paramita, but actually it's very hard to embody it. Most of the people doing practice on the samatha, that part, concentration, like doing meditation, these things. And
那一个像我们在禅堂啊，那因为不要跟人家互动哦，所以你感觉自己在修行啊，那很可能是就是主要是修专注，或者修什么一心，就是身心合一。但是呢，就是要修到跟无我相应的那种，我们叫做无心啊，或者说陈通来讲叫心无所住，大概很不容易懂。
when someone doing practice in a Chan hall, because of the very limited or even no interaction with others or disturbed by others, it's quite easy to focus or practice the concentration part and easily to attain, like to say, body and mind become one. But it's still very, very hard to really doing, gain the levels in the vipassana, which means like to say no heart or no mind, no thinking, and that is a very high level and hard to achieve. And
那这个宗会这个部分啊，可能要都是南传的啊。我看到南传的修行是什么？先从异界，然后进入初禅，可能是进入初禅、二禅、三禅啊。那再从初禅、二禅、三禅退出来，退到异界定，再去观察这些五阴的现象，都是什么？都是生灭的。那接下来就开始什么？就一直要放，就是不再抓任何东西啊。那是属于什么是修慧的部分？那这个部分好像对大部分人来讲没那么容易。从初禅退出来，他就观这些什么上面叫什么名色分别智，只有名，只有色，只有这个吗？名色就是五蕴啊，色受想行识，只有色受想行识这些现象，生生灭灭没有一个很长不变的。那接下来他们就发觉都不值得你去抓，这是南传的修法啊。
四禅八定我可能翻译的不是很那个，是不是就
没关系
说 Dianas 就好了，就是4个 level 就好了，这样子。
或者我要讲好了，我用英文讲好了啊。Usually in the maybe in Theravada practice, first you enter the first dhyana, second dhyana, third dhyana, and then go back to the and go back, and then you maybe we say contemplate that all the phenomenon is arising, perishing, and there is nothing. However, maybe we call it not self. So at that time, you contemplate all the phenomenon is arising and perishing. No, there's nothing that can exist. However, we call it not self. So you let go every phenomenon. Now maybe we call it you contemplate. Maybe we call it not self. Even do this is not easy. Can you understand that? My poor English. 很 good 啊，好，我还是讲中文比较习惯了，英文还是从头讲过来也可以了啊。那我们中文，中国的是已经知道这些现象都是无常的啊，也就是说，我们的现象啊，我们的现象跟心性的关系，南传好像没有讲到这个部分啊，可能有，但是我没有看到啊，可能应该有，就是五蕴的现象，比如说色印或者受啊想的形式，是佛性的功能，有点像是什么海水跟波浪的关系。
So about Theravada Buddhist practice ways, and in Mahayana, we emphasize more about the phenomenon is impermanent, and there is something might be not mentioned, or maybe I haven't noticed in Theravada, that is the link of this kind of like impermanent performance with our Buddha nature. So kind of like our standards, the functions of our Buddha nature as, you know, physical existence, the feelings we accepted, our thoughts, our behaviors, our conscious, all these things, they all like waves, and it links to the ocean of our Buddha nature. So yeah, that's it. And
那汉传的就是说，我们平常啊，我们平常，譬如说我在讲话，或者说我在走路啊，或者我在看东西啊，那这些被我看到的这些什么，这些人啊，这些声音啊，还有是说我讲话的表情啊、声音啊，还有内心产生的感受、想法，还有我的行为啊，那这些我们叫现象啊，把它归类叫做五蕴的现象。这个是什么？这些现象是有，可是它是来自于我佛性产生的功能，它起来会消失，所以它不是我。你说里面没有我，
in the Han Chinese Buddhism, when I say I do this, I do that, I speak, I walk, I watch, all these objects be done some action by me. These people, voices, feelings, thoughts, behaviors, they are all the performance of the five skandhas. So because they are like impermanent, they rise and they down. So they come from or they are the functions of our Buddha nature, and they will disappear. So there is no I, no self in all these performance of phenomenon. So they are not me, but linked to the Buddha nature. And
所以你可以看，我刚才以刚才那个原则，我们来看书讲的这些内容。你看啊，我看到别人修行很好，自己很羡慕，可是应该用功，可是就是即使你想用功了啊，都没有关系啊。你看哦，看到别人修行很好，自己很羡慕，这里面其实从禅宗来讲，你看到别人修行很好，自己很羡慕，这个本身就是一个什么错误？因为我们会把，比如说我现在荒燕，我看到荒燕，哇，很有修行，对不对？其实荒燕这个本身是一个现象。好，比如说我现在看到金佛在笑，那我把它当成人，没有，这就是一个影像，我把它当成人，它本身就是一个什么？我们讲说本身就是一个颠倒。那我想很多人不会觉得这是颠倒，乃至于你很羡慕，这个也都是颠倒。 光是这个部分其实就可以，我就不晓得，大家对这个部分就可以或你谈的可能谈了很长的时间。我看这个部分搞不好就让大家问问题，对，看看大家能不能理解，那我们再讲下面的。
So if we use this metaphor of an ocean and a wave to look at our today's this piece of Koan. So when someone look at others and feel others practice better than themselves, that person felt a little bit envy or admire the others. This is actually already a mistake made. Because when you look at others, actually that is just the others an image. There's no person there. So when like I am here, look at some smiley face on this Zoom screen, and I should not recognize as, oh, there are so many people, but actually it's just one image. But most people take these images as people, so they admire others practice better than themselves. This is totally upside down, and most of us will make these kinds of mistakes. So Venerable will pause here to ask whether we have questions around this, what he just said. Yes.
Okay, thank you, Master Guoxin, and thank you, Haiyan, for translation. And we are on the second koan, on the kind of stand on the ground. And the Master Guoxin mentioned how not to take images as a person, as a self. And he'd like to know, is this easy to understand? And do you have any question about this? If you do, please raise your hand. And this is an excellent opportunity, especially about envy and admire others and not taking image as others or self. Please do take the opportunity to ask questions.
Oh, please.
Thank you. Yeah, on Gino's question, it's not easy to understand for me. I think it's a gradual process, isn't it? But I have a question on shamatha and vipassana. So in Chan practice, like silent illumination, they are said to be fused, right? Is that right? It encompasses both shamatha and vipassana. Could you talk about that a little bit, if possible?
好，你讲一下，后面听不是很清楚啊。
他是说在我们师父的那个默照禅里面的时候，是不是讲定慧双修，然后是最后是说要定慧合一吗？他想请师父这方面能够讲多一点点。
是默照禅里面，默照禅里面的止跟观是合在一起的。
哦，止和观，
而且是默照禅里面的。
对
，silent
illumination，
默照禅中的止跟观是怎么修的？这样子，是如何合在一起的？
是如何合一的？
首先，一个是怎么修的，先讲方法，那我们再讲理论哦。就是第一个，我们先，譬如说先放松，打坐的时候先放松身心，接下来体验呼吸啊。第二个是体验呼吸啊。那心比较安定以后，接下来就是什么？就是我们叫观整体啊。这观整体是最关键的东西啊。观整体就是刚开始你放松身心，体验呼吸，就比较是属于南传，如果是南传来讲，比较属于是samatha，让心能够安定嘛。那第三个就是观全身，观整体的英文叫 totality 这是一个非常关键的 关键的东西啊，因为前面你放松身体从眼睛放松脸部放松、肩膀放松，它都是有对象的，乃至于放松以后来体验呼吸，呼吸也是有一个很明确的对象，让你去观让你去我拉了呼吸，我往里我都拉回来，这都很明确的，很容易跟那等到你心安定以后，要变成观整体。观整体是你的心不要注意局部的，不要注意局部的对象，或者说不要被局部占据了。英文叫什么？叫做什么？Don't be occupied by the particular object。就这个部分是最关键的那你就先翻译呢？
So first talking about the method, then talking about theory. About the method, there are 4 steps in that silent illumination practice. First, when is relax every part of your body from the top of your head and then your eyes and then your whole body and settle down and that you experience your breath. That is second step, and then you breathe in, breathe out, and more calm down. And the third is after you calm down, it's let me think. Then you settle your mind and the body. And the fourth is you watch wholly, not just like to say part of like your eyes or some part of your body, but you take your whole body as one. And when in the first 2 steps, when you relaxing your mind and the body and expressing the breath, there are still some subjects there and objects there, because you have the specific, when you relax your eyes is that object, and when you experience your breath in, breath out, the breath itself is that object. But when you arrive to the settle down, the third step, and then the fourth step, when you watch fully about your whole holistic existence, you are not occupied your mind in some specific objects, but you are experiencing that oneness. So that's why I say in the third one is more closer to samadhi. And in the fourth one is more closer to what we say is vipassana. Is that correct? Okay.
没有第3个的话，就已经是定跟慧的一直两者是交互的修了。就是 contemplative totality 是已经是什么 samatha 跟 vipassana 是交互的修。
Oh, sorry, I made a mistake. So to fix the problem, from the third, the 2 actually combined. So it's not just one by one. Actually, you do it, on and off, but they do it together. So from the third one and then the fourth one, they are all like the samatha and vipassana. You do it together. Yes.
Maybe I will speak. I speak English.
Okay.
When you enter to the third steps, contemplate the totality. That means you not pay attention in a special object. You contemplate totality. Totality means what you see, what you hear, what you smell, what you taste, what you feel, what you think. Maybe we say 6 tasks. But because it's too much, so we limited it to 2. You just make it small. That means that you take what you feel and what you think is the totality. And you take what you see, what you hear, what you smell, what you taste, you take it out. It's only two. What you feel and what you think is the totality. That means now maybe you have pain or you have breath. That's a body. That's body. And what you think is, we say, underneath thought. So there's three things now. One is now your wandering thought, and the other one is your breath, and the third a different sensation, different feeling, maybe pain, maybe you have many sensations in your body, and these three you don't pay attention at a particular object. Maybe you will be occupied by the breath. When you are occupied, then you find it out in the ball. Maybe you are occupied by the wandering thought. When you know, then you know it. You know. Oh, it's okay. I don't interact with the wandering thought, and I don't reject the wandering thought. You just let go, and then go back to your now. Your mind now is not abide at anywhere, not be occupied by a particular object. So that's a key point. But because our maybe we say our 我们的那个什么这个什么业力该怎么讲？所以我现在很久没有讲了啊。我们的业力，我们还是想
业力是不是卡玛师傅？
或者另外一个是什么没关系啊，就是我们的很容易被业力拉去的。虽然你说啊不要跟，但是业力会把你拉去。所以当你发觉的时候，你就什么知道就好，不要压，不要跟，拉到你的，不要特别注意哪里，这是最关键的。那先讲这个部分，我再讲说这个哪一个是 vipassana， 哪一个是 samatha。
可以分 habitual thinking，
对 habitual
thinking，
不是 habitual， 不是 karma， habitual tendency 的，应该是 habitual tendency 啊。
Habitual tendency. So when you do meditation, the habitual
way.
So it's kind of like you have that kind of like quite a solid habitual way, or like to say power like, because you are quite easy to be draw away, or like to chase that thought train, and then you lost. So it's kind of like very hard in the third or fourth levels. You watch your wandering mind, but you are not to be taken away. You saw that habit arise, but you are just not follow it, and not be draw away, and not draw it back, and just stay where you are. Is that so?
然后在这个实践里面那我就来分析默跟照的关系照自然就是 vipassana 那默就是也是算是 samatha 那比如说你很清楚你的心，就是很清楚的，你非常清楚你现在的状态叫做 vipassana 或者 contemplation。然后你的心不要特别注意局部，不要跟局部互动，这叫 samatha。这两者是同时的。
Silent illumination, silent links to samatha. And illumination links to vipassana. And when you look after your mind, you do the contemplation, not wholly and totally, and you are not interacting with your part of your body or part of your mind. So that there's no interaction between your whole how to translate. You are not.
我英文讲好了哈。
好的，抱歉。
You are very clear about your situation. That means vipassana. And then you not interact with the one thing saw a particular object. You not interact or not be occupied by a particular object. We call it samatha. That means no, you are clear. You are not be occupied. Clear. You are clear is a contemplation. Not occupy, not interact is samatha. So two, because you are clear, that means no, it's like a no, like a observer. You observe, and then there's a 执行者怎么讲？执行者一个是观察，一个是什么？也是什么？也是像什么？像就是监督者，一个是执行者。
Implementer
执行者怎么讲
？Supervisor and implementer, someone doer or like.
A doer and is a supervisor. So you find you do it correctly. So that's a vipassana. That's innovation. And silent is like a doer. You lose silent, don't interact, don't be occupied a particular object. That's a silence. So supervisor just observe, you'll not be occupied, not interact. You supervise, you're clear. That means vipassana. Not interact and not be occupied by a particular object. That means samatha. So they help each other. And because you will not interact or not be occupied by a particular object, so your wandering thought will gradually will stop. Then your mind will more clear, and your mind more clear. Then because you observe, so you will find out the subtle wandering thought. So the vipassana is in relation, maybe we say the silent make your mind more subtle, and the vipassana or the illumination see it clear, then you still have a wandering thought. So they help each other. Okay? All right. 所以我现在还是讲中文。你讲不行了，再来。
是 clear。
这个
clear。
那这个如果你在这一个禅修你会懂了以后，这两个是相辅相成的。现在重点是什么呢？是我们在生活当中，就是我怎么样？因为我们在禅修的时候，哇，妄念啊，什么东西我不要管啊。可是生活当中，我要跟你讲话，我要想啊，那这些在我们打坐的时候是想啊，这个本身是什么？就是妄念嘛。那你现在想的时候就是妄念，那就跟你的一般的禅修是完全不一样的。所以大概就是什么？拿到生活上一定要有另外一个观念，才能够跟生活上结合。
So all above we talked like the silent illumination, all these samatha and vipassana, they support each other, and it's quite we enjoy the practice in Chan Hall. But when we back to our everyday life, the wandering thoughts or these illulers, like to say minds, which we are relatively easy to handle when we do meditation in a Chan Hall, will be very hard in our everyday life because we have to, think and speak and talk to each other, and so there should be another way to handle like in our everyday life. And
那我想生活上大概有一个大原则哦，大概是我看到你，我是能看的，你是被我看的，或者是我看到你就想说啊，这个是荒焰，这个都已经不是 silence， 这么清楚。
There is a fundamental rule for us to practice in everyday life. So for example, when I see you, let's see I see you is the action itself is not silent anymore. And
所以在生活上大概就必须要一些什么观念上的知见上的先进来，然后你要跟这个知见相应，就是说假设我是有对象的看有对象的看，那就是不昧了。有时候我们说有能手的看，那就是不昧了。比如说我眼前这一个被我看到的，你就知道说我们的心基本上是什么？一个是心本上是没有合一的。
so to handle our everyday life practice, we first need to carry with some correct or right concepts with us, because when we separate objects and subjects, that is not silent anymore. Like to say, I see you and I separate, and I feel there is a person there and I am standing here, and then that separation or duality, it causes our heart or our mind is not one anymore. And
所以生活上，比如说你看到一个人，那就要用观念来讲说，不是，这是一个色相，不是人。这第一个。那第二个，这个色相不是我身外的色相，是我眼内的一个色相。那第三个，这个色相就是心，这东西要进来。
So spontaneously, when we see someone, some person in our everyday life, we should have three things to carry with us. First, that is a physical phenomenon or is a physical existence. The second is it's not outside of my mind. It's inside my mind. The third is it is my mind, or it is part of my mind. And
它有点，我不晓得在这边大家有没有听懂，它有点像是说我在做梦。比如我现在在做，我跟大家在讲课，那相当于我在做梦。那这一些我在梦中的这一些，我们这些你这些影像，都是我心中的东西，这个要先进来。
So now I'm teaching. I'm not sure whether you have got my whether you have got me. It's kind of like I'm dreaming, and all these images actually in my dreams. I'm a dreamer, and all these things are in my dream.
所以就是有一个人，就是他做梦梦到一只老虎，让他赶快跑，他被咬死了。醒来以后，发觉是一场梦哦。结果他的那个金刚圣师在教他说：“你再回去 在接续刚刚的梦。那这时候你发觉老虎是你，你也不用跑，或是你要慢慢走路也没关系，因为梦中的老虎是你，乃至于梦的张三李四都是你，所以这观念要进来。
So there is a person dreamed a tiger in his dream, and the tiger looks like very vicious, and so he at once run away, and also but he still was beaten to death in that dream. When he woke up, he told this story to his his master, and his master said, actually that tiger, next time when you in a dream again, the tiger could be you, because the tiger is in your mind, is your mind, and you don't need to run. You can walk slowly, elegantly, and all fine, because all of them are just your mind. And
就这个要进来，在生活上这个要进来，就是如梦如幻，这个要进来。我不晓得这样子，这个问大家能不能理解啊？不知道大家有没有什么问题啊？
So in everyday life, we carry our basic principle or rule is to say all that interaction with others is dreamly and dreamlike, or like illusion like. So here Venerable would like to have a pause and to ask whether we have questions to ask and check whether we
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Master Guoxin. Master Guoxin mentioned about 3 principles to apply in our life. And correct me if I am wrong. First, when we see one image, usually we say a person or a name, 方言, but now we simply take it as an image, not to take it as a person. This is first principle need to come in our daily life. Second is, these are appear in my mind. These are appear in the Buddha mind. This image appear in the Buddha mind. And third is, this image is no other than the mind. This image is the mind. Okay, 3 principles. And the Master Guoxin would like us to check what is your understanding. Do you understand it correctly? And any other question, please? I think Vitaly, please. You can ask the question.
Thank you, Master Guoxin, for the talk. And the question is, it seems to me that the difference between reality and the dream is about the number of actors. I mean, in the real world, there are several actors, so you can interact with them. And in the dream, you are the only one actor. So I just want to make myself clear, what do you mean by dream, and how it's related to what I said.
好，你要不要翻译一下？
所以他提问就是说，他觉得现实和梦境的区别是在于演员的人数，好像他觉得是说，像我们平常人所说的真实的现实的话，因为我们可以跟很多人互动，好像有很多演员，但是在梦里面的话，他也知道我们就是自己一个演员，但是他还是有点迷糊，就是师父说的，我们要把现实的 everyday life 当成这个就是如梦如幻的这个意思的话，好像不太好理解怎么去把就是我们现在日常的当成一个梦境。
好，这个第一个在一个观念就是人我们这边我们现在今天有15个人嘛那我们把它叫15个佛性那15个佛性加起来实际上是一个佛性，就一个空性嘛，虚空嘛 这第一个哦。那这个15个人，都在佛性里面，就等于是一个大电脑哦，大电脑就只有一个电脑，就像我们现在每个人都有一个在电脑，电脑里面大家都有15个人，做15个影像嘛。然后说你们说大家都是同一个大电脑，那重点是什么？我们面对这个我电脑子里面这些15个影像的时候，我会抓取其中一个影像是我，那其他的影像是别人，这是问题点在这边。
So now we 15 people together look at this screen. So most of us might just take one of these images as me, and then there are other people's, but we can't take all of these as my mind, but we just pick up one image as me. Is that correct?
换完了，我还是我用英语讲好了啊。Maybe if a real person, the Buddha nature is a real person, a real I. So here we have 15 Buddha nature. Maybe usually we say we have I'm not sure how many people here today. 今有34啊 now we have 15 people. Maybe we can say we have 15 Buddha nature, but in fact the Buddha nature, 15 Buddha nature, you combine it together is on one Buddha nature, and then it's like a in our like it's a big computer. Everyone uses a same computer, and there's 15. 15, we say 15 people, but 15, how do you say it? 色相, 15 phenomenon. And people will take one or the human being, or it's me,
Image
as a rest. The image, yeah. So that's the problem. So, all the phenomena is me, but I take my body is a tool to interact. In fact, I interact with my dream. I interact with the sun, with the image, and the other people interact with the image, with the sun. But we take the sun and the image as a human being. No. Only the Buddha nature can make a sound, can move your body. It's like a puppet, no? So puppet, the hand inside the puppet is a real person. Not the puppet is a real person. Right?
Just to clarify, but when you're in the dream, I have no experience of molding, to changing my dream, but some people do, they say. And the question actually was that in the dream, as you are the only actor, you are able, if you can, to mold your dream or to change it and to something unbelievable. But in reality, I don't think that I understand how to do this. But your clarification is quite clear. But I was just to add what I was meant by one person and many persons. So just think.
看你后面他那一句话是什么？后面这2句的话，我后面2句我听不太懂了。
他是说，还是就是他的问题强调，在梦里只有一个演员，和他在现实生活中有多个演员的话，是觉得好像在梦境中，因为是自己的梦的话，可以做主，就是有时候可以想怎样就怎样，然后可以有很多的，就是可以去改变一些东西。但是这样，比如说现在我们这么多个就是人，用方便说的话，这么多人在这里，他是不能改变 其他的人的行为啊，或者说他不能够随心所动的让这个就是这个大的梦境去发生一些，就是根据他自己的那个，所以他觉得这个能改编的这个上面来说的话，就是这个梦境当中的一个演员和现在我们通常人所说的这个现实中的多个演员，对他来说感觉上面还是不一样的。
来，好，告诉你哈，晚上叫做梦，白天叫做想。晚上叫做梦，白天叫想。那你先从想下手。你现在想到，其实我想到张三，那因为你把张三当真人，所以你看到想到他就很气。你光是要把张三看到张三，可以知道他不是人，都要花很多时间。你想到张三，你本来很讨厌，你现在想到张三就很舒服。你之前从这边练起来。
So in a dream, we dream at night and we think in daytime. So in the daytime, when we look at other person, like to say Tom and Jack, and then we don't take them as a real person, but as the phenomenon or and one image of a real person. So we won't be angry at that image because that is not a real person. It's just a real person performance. And
so you can change from your imagination in your memory. You change the attitude to the some people in your memory. I think it's difficult for you. You think it's real, is that right? So you change from this part. Okay. 好。
Thank you. After Leo, we will change the translation. But Leo, please, your translator. I mean, Leo, please ask your question. And after Master's answer, we will swap from. Yeah. Thank you.
Good morning, Venerable. Thanks, everyone. And I missed the talk, so maybe this was covered, so I'm not sure. But I do have a question, and it relates to practice, and it relates to when you're sitting. And you mentioned earlier talking about creating the non-dual mentality, the non-dual sensation when you are sitting, connecting with that. So when you're trying to approach that in meditation, can you do it gradually by, for example, if I'm sitting here and I hear the sound of birds outside the window and my attention goes to the birds, it's not the totality, but that's where my attention is drawn. Can I say those birds and me, we arise from the same source, and then every object of attention as it comes, just keep doing that, and then eventually it'll just go maybe more flat. That's correct.
Yeah. 那你可以告诉我解释，我看有没有了解他的意思呢？
他就是说想问修行的问题，就是师父说的那个不二，然后现在他刚刚在听讲的过程当中的时候的话，他听到窗外的鸟叫声，那这样的话他的注意力有一部分就被吸引过去了。他想问，那这样子来说的话，是不是这个鸟也是在他的意念的，也是在他的 mind 当中，也是在他的佛性当中升起来的？那么是不是所有的这些就是他身边能够去感受深处的这种注意力能够去抓到的东西的话，都是师父说的，是他的佛性海里面，等于说是都是在他的 mind 里面的。
Yeah, that's right. You create everything, but because you think the bird is outside your mind, and you think the sound is outside your mind, you don't think it's your creation or your mind. That's a problem.
Just to expand on the practice element, for example, can I think is as a stepping stone, can I think, the birds and my breath are the same. The sound of the birds and the breath are coming from the same thing. Or is that maybe creating more division? I'm not.
好，你再讲一下。Yeah. Yeah.
是说，那这样的话，如果都是从那个佛性里面生出来的，那鸟和我的呼吸这两个东西是不是本身就是一样东西呢？还是说我不应该在这里也区分这两种现象呢？
没有，就是你听到鸟是一个波浪，那你体验到呼吸，那是身体的波浪，然后鸟是耳朵的波浪，耳朵变现的波浪。
So the bird actually is one wave of your ear function, and then the breath actually is the body's function. So it's kind of like still two waves, but they linked to different faculties of your body. One is into air, and the other is through your body. Yeah.
Yeah, both come out from your mind. Yeah, but to thought. OK 好，还有再来。
Okay, so thank you, Haiyin, for translation. And then we will invite Fang Yan to help. And please do, you can ask your question. And good morning, Thomas. Good morning, everybody.
Thank you very much, Master. I am very interested or moved to know more or some examples about the attitude of the heart, of the moment, in the present moment, when there is this possibility of being connected to the waves, to the arising and ceasing, I feel for me that with nature and with animals is very possible to keep that awareness and presence, but the challenges are especially with myself in touch with others or others in touch with me, especially when there is the history of previous experiences and the kind of preconditions already to the experience, to the moment, as if each of us carries this backpack already. And then it's challenging. Any recommendations or perspectives? Yeah, very much connected to the attitude in these human connections or interactions. When there is history, the backpack, we carry the backpack. Thank you.
好，你翻译一下，我听不太懂。
他是说，他对这个修行的时候，我们专注这个当下的这个时刻的这个态度特别的感兴趣。但是对他来说，这个挑战就是和人接触的时候，因为当我们和人接触，然后并且是这个人对方和我们有过去过往的历史，所以对所有这些过往的这些东西呢，就像一个背包一样背在我们每个人都背着自己的背包。那么他就是想请您那个开示一下如何在处理这样的情况，就是一方面呢是我们要使我们的心专注于当下，但是呢我们又带着这样的背包啊，就是这样的一个 情况。
好，这里面有好几个哦。第一个，眼前的人跟你的记忆，是碰不到的。譬如说，我看到他，比如说有点像是什么，我看到他，就有点像看到他，有点像是看到手掌，我的心变成出手掌。接下来我产生舒服，再产生喜欢。那刚刚他这个影像就变成什么？变成拳头了，再从拳头变成手掌了。或者但是我就用英语讲好了啊。When you see, for example, you see a person, it's like your Buddha nature is like a god, and it's like a palm. And then next you feel very happy. That means the palm changes to the fist, and the palm disappear and become fist. But you think the palm still exists, so the fist interact with the palm. Let's influence, because now the fist came from the palms, but we think the feeling react to this person. No, the feeling react to the previous thought, but in fact no previous thought. And the third, the feeling become like, and the feeling disappear and become like, and you become this one. So there's no connection between second thought and the first thought, because the second thought comes from the first thought. The second thought arising, first thought disappear. But we think it still exists, so it becomes duality. The second thought becomes subject. The first thought become object, but in fact, the first thought disappear. So you must be sure this principle, because you think it still exists, so our mind will interact each other. So that's the first one. So and then the second, when your memory arising, usually you think the memory interact or connect to someone, but the memory, just memory, no I like or no I hate, no, it's a memory. And you think it's a I, there's an I inside my memory. So when you have a strong feeling in your memory, then you can deal with your memory. It's a phenomenon, or I don't like, or I have a strong emotion, or there's only emotion. So you deal with your memory. So when you interact, I think it's not a good good time to interact. First, you deal with your memory. When you leave this person and maybe your memory arises and you ask, no, is the memory, or I disappear? But no, is I angry, or just an angry phenomenon? So you just watch, and who get angry, and you will maybe gradually you will find out only the angry phenomenon arising, but the Buddha nature will not get angry. So you must, in this way, in the daily life, you deal with your memory. When your memory change, then this person will change. Maybe I will give you an example. And in Taiwan, we have a meditator who always get angry with his boss. So, and he meditated very well, and he think about, because now when they have a meeting, they always argue each other. So told him, you just think someone, and he think his younger brother, and he feel very happy. And then I say, you feel happy, and then you're happy, the feeling connect to your boss. But when you feel very happy, and then he try to connect his boss, he become angry. So I said, you go back and still think that your younger brother, and so we are happy. And you must make your happy feeling connect to your boss. You hate the one you hate. So he spent three months to make his boss and present feeling connect together. 3 months. So he succeed. And then he went to his boss, and his boss get angry with him, but because he always practiced in his memory for 3 months. So that day he just smile and relax toward his boss, and his boss don't know what to do because in the past I just get angry with you, but today it seems a different person. So that day their relationship changed, and that one is a Germany, and maybe it's 30 years ago, and this meditator said, they still have connect together after 30 years later. So you change your memory, you guys.
Thank you
我
very
们
much.
好，对，我们好像差不多了哦，因为我今天有事啊，
好 ，OK，
那我们就
OK，
那我们就
unfortunately, Master has to leave for now, and please do come back next Thursday. But our group will continue. And so it's only Master leaving, not everybody. So let's bow to Master.
好，
阿弥陀佛，感恩法师，
谢谢，
下个礼拜见。
阿弥陀佛。
阿弥陀佛。Okay, so now I'd like to summarize Master Guoxin's answer to Lu's question. In fact, he actually gave two answers, two methods. The second example isn't the same as the first one. The first one is without doing anything, you just see phenomena as phenomena and stop the sowing activity, like train the first souls, follow the second soul and the third soul. So this approach is dramatically different from other methods. Usually a teacher would answer, oh, you just put down the baggage, you put the bag in which way. Now it's just see reality as it is, not adding on to anything, but change our way of looking at it. That is his first answer. The second answer is more manipulative. You change your memory about that person, and then the reality will change. And this is truly mind training. This is also the meta practice is similar. Yeah, meta practice is slightly different, but similar principle. But this principle is a bit different from the first principle. The first answer is much subtler than the second principle. Yeah, but they are closely related. Okay, so so now let's pause for a couple of minutes. Let's digest Master's teaching. Now it's nearly 9:30 for you. Let's meditate for 10 minutes. And then we can open up for further question or your own response, your understanding. Yeah, so we recapture Master's teaching. so it's clear to us, and we check, we share our understanding, what we have heard, and how could we apply in our daily life. Okay, so now please adjust your body. We'll meditate for 10 minutes.